Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I-Man here from the Block Runner MetaZone, Roby and MScribe, and today we got the non-arbitrary juice.
The juice is officially leaked. It's all over the place, dude. It's seeping. Right?
All right. So, speaking of juice.
Yeah, dude. A very juicy article was written over the weekend.
Yeah, this is quite the read. So it's called NAT, Digital Matter Theory, from Unifying All Chains to Unifying All Universes.
That's definitely a new narrative.
Yeah.
Unifying all chains has definitely been like a...
It's been a thing. Trying.
Yeah, it's been like a big common goal in like of Web3. It's like, you know what? We're all doing a really good job of deploying, ecosystems out here that are native to like these new chains and such. But you know what? It'd be better if we could all just kind of like come together and create like a unified ecosystem and like not silos.
Layer 0.
Stuff like that.
Polkadot, things like that.
Yeah, interchain swapping, emblem vault. Shout out to Jake and such.
Jake, yeah.
Anything that's interchain is like a big fucking deal, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, what about the metaverse though?
Yeah.
How do we like unify like the entire digital space?
Yeah, you and I were having a offline conversation about the value proposition that a non-arbitrary metaverse brings.
Yeah.
And it's non-arbitrary digital physics and like why that's important. So we're going to get to that in a podcast because it's a long discussion.
It is. So maybe this week we'll have that like full length discussion because I've been tussling in my own mind like with the whys like a lot lately because we saw value in introducing non-arbitrary digital assets just in its own merit, right? Just because now there's a true fork. Right now you have multiple options, avenues as far as digital matter manifestation. You don't just have to rely on arbitrary means anymore.
Correct.
We can deduce non-arbitrary means. Yeah, there it is.
Here's that fork.
Yeah, so it's like just that alone is like worthy of an attempt, right? But now it's like it's out there, it's working.
Yeah.
There are non-arbitrary digital assets like proliferating into the world, into the universe. So now it's like, why are we doing this, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so stay tuned for the podcast just because it's definitely a long discussion. I mean, we've been thinking about it for years, and now it's like there's like, substance that we can like chew on, right?
That's always nice.
And speaking of substance, periodic table of the elements. So what does this have to do with non-arbitrary tokens?
Well, you did drop the word physics earlier.
I did.
And now this is this is chemistry, right?
This is.
I remember this in chemistry class.
Yeah, but this is in the class of, physical reality, physics.
Correct. So these are elements, meaning these are basically different atomic structures that have been discovered and labeled.
Yeah, discovered patterns
and forever categorized, right?
Yeah.
Into like human readable formats. It's like, these all individually have their own properties,
right?
And they exist throughout the entire universe in this exact state, no matter what.
That's right.
Pretty cool, right? It seems very valuable for us humans to kind of like take note of that, and actually figure out what can we do with these things,
right? Yeah, and along those lines, we discovered these patterns, gave each of these patterns a name, just like we're doing with Bitcoin, right? We're discovering patterns on Bitcoin, giving each pattern a name,
and we're calling them elements also.
And that's why we're calling them elements, right?
Right. Correct.
And so now the person who wrote this is named Navigator. He was like, well, looks like we're creating a digital periodic table. And so I have that somewhere here.
Well, you have more of like a tease of
it. It's like a teaser, yeah. Because I didn't want to show it and like, take us thunder.
Correct.
But as you can see here, we have a block forming, and then we have all the digital elements that have been discovered. And these are particularly the fields of those elements, but then there's going to be tons of elements associated with each of the fields. So we might have like hundreds, if not thousands, of elements on Bitcoin, which is significantly more than what we have in the physical reality.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see how like the actual element table, the Bitcoin element table manifests and like comes into like an actual construct. But yeah, like as far as like the element table for the fields itself, it's very closely aligned to that, right? So there are people out there, creating this formatting, I guess, which is pretty cool.
It is cool.
We kind of like anticipated this, and we thought we were going to have to be the ones to like kind of reimagine this periodic table, like apply it into the digital realm. It's like, what's that going to look like.
Yeah.
And thankfully, somebody out there is already like working on this. So
Yeah.
as you know, as all big paradigms, it's going to be like a mass contribution effort, right? It's not all the new innovations are going to come from us, right? We got the ball rolling, but there's a community ecosystem around this where it's like everybody's contributing. Right?
That's right.
And that's the power of it, right?
Yeah. So the reason why we mention, we name things like elements and like digital matter, right, is because Bitcoin sort of mimics like physics. In like just in the way that we can't break the laws of physics, you can't break the data that's within the blocks. It's locked in forever.
Yeah.
And if you were to try to manipulate the data on Bitcoin, you would require essentially infinite amount of energy. Why infinite? Is because anytime you change the data on the Bitcoin blocks, you have to remine it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to remine it at a rate that is significantly faster than the current miners appending blocks to the end of the chain. Because every new block that gets added to the chain, you have to remine those blocks faster than they are doing, appending blocks to the chain. So to have enough energy to do that, you'd have to surpass the amount of energy being put into Bitcoin right now. So
interesting.
Very unlikely that you could achieve that.
Correct. All right, so this is definitely new. I don't know if anybody's approached or like contextualized, I guess, Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies as a whole as like some sort of something relationary to like science and physics and all this stuff. So this is like a new unlock.
Yeah.
Potentially that this is like an avenue worth exploring, and we're going as deep into that as we can, I guess. And we're not alone in this. I think a lot of other people have, in these Twitter spaces we've been having, like identifying, and Benny himself, understanding, like he really took that DMT pill pretty hard, dude.
Yeah,
he had quite the trip.
Yeah.
to the point where he's now like exploring the fundamental like principles
the laws of physics.
Of reality. He's like, holy shit, dude. It's like, what are we doing here, lads?
Yeah.
Like this could potentially be something of a much higher magnitude than we initially expected. At least me. Maybe you saw this coming. I don't know.
It's hard to predict all this stuff, but
there's people out here, and especially in this article specifically, making predictions here that far outreached my assumptions, right?
Yeah, and so we like to kind of talk about projects like Track, for example, and try to compare Track to what's existed out there.
Yes, exactly.
And then so it's like, okay, non-arbitrary tokens, like have there been non-arbitrary tokens in existence?
Correct. There really isn't much of a reference point, right? Like
there
for Track, we knew Track was a fundamental primitive and infrastructure layer needed for ordinals to succeed. And we do have reference points like on other chains to kind of this was also been a very fundamental infrastructure network for Ethereum and such, the graph and Chainlink and such. It's a big indexing is a big task, right? And you can form ecosystems around that. So what is the value of that? We're talking in the multiples of billions, right? Mm-hmm. And when we first discovered Track, it was like less than $1 million market cap.
Yeah.
So it's like there's quite the gap there, guys. It's fucking huge.
Yeah.
If this actually comes to fruition, like we're talking one of the biggest opportunities
for entertainment. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So much entertainment there.
Right.
So and I was like, okay, what about
how do you evaluate the entertainment potential of NAT when there's no counterpart, there's no reference point?
Yeah, it truly is first of its kind, and people do say like they're getting tired of this whole first is first narrative.
Yeah,
because it's
it's being overused.
Well, yeah, it's like people are just deploying like anything, and it's like this is the first of this new thing, so it's like it has to be like the most valuable thing ever.
Yeah,
right. And I get that they got exhausted and such, but in this case.
It's actually true.
Without trying to like seem grandiose or whatever, like it's actually first of its kind, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Just like Bitmap was the first of its kind. Yeah, we've seen different metaverse attempts. They've all been arbitrary, but there's been nothing like a Bitmap before.
Correct.
And that's why we had such conviction in it when we first saw it, because we knew.
Yeah, we saw it all.
Yeah, we've explored all the metaverse opportunities.
We have.
And we saw Bitmap, and it was obvious.
To us and to a lot of other people think as a result, right? Because it did tap into something truly unique and like unexpected. I think it gave us it must have been like the same feeling people felt when they I don't know, just fucking discovered the first dinosaur bone or something like that. It's like, holy shit, it like unlocked a whole new paradigm of potentials. Like,
it's like there are monsters here.
Yeah, it's like maybe we didn't just exist for a couple thousand years. You know, maybe
Right.
Earth is very old.
Yeah.
Potentially, right? So it's like maybe we should explore this thing called archaeology.
Yeah.
You know, and like better understand ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. Things like that. That's kind of like the same feeling we're getting here, right?
Yeah, and a token tied to like, the digital version of physics. I mean, who would do that, right? Who does that?
Right. So I guess they tried here. So let's just kind of like run down quickly. I don't know.
Yeah. So there's a couple of methods that Navigator tried to evaluate this. So method one, estimated by multiplying the average casting cost, which is inscription cost.
Yeah.
$10 by 30 to 100 times, which is approximately $300 to $1,000. So for every mint that you have, it's roughly like 300 to 400 million NAT tokens, but for every mint is valued at $300 to $1,000.
Okay.
So that will give it close to like 800 million market cap in this one. And then another one is like NAT is equivalent to SATs and essentially reaches a market cap around $1 billion. So each one is going to be 1250.
So he's just drawing parallels, or just like arbitrary like market caps, right? Or like just values. It's like this is what.
Yeah, but SATs has a supply of 2.1 quintillion, and then NATs has a supply of 342 trillion.
Yeah.
So we're different leagues in terms of like supplies.
Okay.
Right. One is non-arbitrary, and the other one is completely arbitrary.
Correct. Okay.
Number three, I guess 10 times the valuation of Bitmap. Bitmap has land entities valued at approximately 1 to 10 compared to market cap land and platform tokens such as Decentraland. So Decentraland has a land market cap of, let's say, 100 million, right, just to make the math easy, and then has a token valuation at about $1 billion, right? So that's how they get the 10x difference there. And so if that were the case, you apply that to NAT, then you have the price at $2,250 per mint,
which was actually like $5-6 roughly, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So that's quite. Again, he's identifying gap potential, I guess, entertainment gap potential.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay. And there it is, Sandbox and Decentraland comparisons. Like these are the actual.
Yeah. So for example, so the market cap of the land 74 million, token 974.
Yeah, roughly 10 to 1, I guess.
Yeah.
Not exactly, but it is interesting.
Same thing for Sandbox, roughly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So now we're talking.
Okay. So that's like, okay.
Deeper.
So now it's like we gave you like the base case, like just taking existing projects. All right, let's see, if NAT matches those things, this is the outcome.
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, let's do that again, but in like a bull market case, like where things go a little bit too ham, right?
Yeah.
So evaluation one, the first token DMT protocol is a concept leader similar to the first tokens in like such as ORDI and ETHs. The value of the two protocols approximately 70,000 and 13,000 respectively. And he's talking about the mints here, not the individual fungible tokens.
Correct.
Right? So, for example, already has 21,000 mints. 21,000 times 70,000 will give you the current market cap.
Okay.
So, currently, there's no ceiling for the first tokens of these protocols. It's expected that NAT will have the opportunity to reach roughly 10,000 with a market capitalization of around 10 billion without any limit. So, this is equating NAT to like the first of its kind type of tokens.
Oh, I see. Okay. And he's talking like peak of a bull market, right?
Correct.
Because even like, ETHS, which is like the first token for Facet, which is inscriptions, and then you got ORDI. I mean, they've reached like pretty high valuations, higher than we initially anticipated. But
ORDI's at $1.5 billion, and ETH's
probably like
now,
300, 400 million.
It peaked at 300 million, something like that. 340.
Yeah. And we haven't even really entered like the real bull market phase yet. So assuming, so these are like different like contingent assumptions. Like assuming the bull market does come, it'd be pretty shocking if it didn't.
Yeah.
But assuming like, these inscription tokens are like a main driver of like of market exuberance. I mean, then these valuations make sense. Right?
Yeah, that's right. All right, we got another method here. Let's assume NAT was a meme token, right? Let's consider the psychology that NAT is accepted as a meme token, 10% of the value of Bitcoin.
I have been seeing some fire memes.
Yeah.
There's one out there where we're literally at the table with Satoshi. It's a great meme.
That's right. That's right.
So yeah, it has that potential.
So SHIB accounts for approximately 5% of the market cap of ETH. Currently, meme tokens in the Bitcoin ecosystem are still in development phase, while Ordi is already far ahead at 70,000. NAT also has the potential to become a leading Bitcoin meme token. So if you take 5% of the value of Bitcoin, which would result in a market capitalization of 50 billion,
Jesus.
that would equate to a $50,000 per mint.
Okay, so like NATs, like you're not ready for this. Like that meme basically would have to like go permeate throughout all of like culture. I'm talking like mainstream culture. Like Elon Musk is like
100%.
Is like, you know,
he's wearing a T-shirt saying you're not ready.
Exactly. It's like you're not paying it. Like I don't know.
You're not paying attention.
It's like we're not going to Mars or something like that. Like that would have to become like the biggest meme on Bitcoin in order for that like hypothesis to come true.
Yeah,
right?
Man, that would be wild.
That would be wild.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
All right. So maturity phase, right? So we got the bull case, we got the maturity phase here. So NAT equals the sum of the value of digital materials such as ordinals, bitmap, recursive inscriptions, BRC420, BRC20s. In the real world, there's a GDP, gross domestic product, and that can be considered as the GDP of the digital material world, or the Bitcoin chain's digital material production value. So basically the GDP of the digital nation, you know, having some sort of account for NAT.
Right. That's going to obviously take some tremendous like proof, right? Like the actual digital commodity space that's going to have to emerge from the utilization of non-arbitrary tokens, which is something we're actively working to like support with mscribe and, you know, leveraging all the different technical components of you know, the frontier abilities of inscription tech.
Yeah.
You know, parent-child, and whatever else.
Yeah.
To actually like reinforce this sentiment and make it something of utility for the metaverse space. Yeah, if that becomes like a primitive and like this metaverse on Bitcoin ecosystem, the economy, then yeah, I mean, it would probably take 10, 15, 20 years for a GDP to kind of arise from that. That's like competitive with something of the real world value.
Yeah.
But he's making that case. It could happen. And if in the event that does play out, considering NAT was like the first of that kind of new commodity, it's like that is really valuable.
It's actually it isn't as unreasonable as you might think, because anytime you go from analog, which is our current economy, it's very analog, very physical, and you go from analog to digital, it's always you know, at least 100 to 1,000 times difference in like value proposition.
How come? Because it like just because eliminates a lot of the friction of physics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you tap into everybody who has access to the internet versus your local network, right?
Basically, like value can be transmitted much more efficiently and quickly than it can in the physical space.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Less friction. Yeah, that makes sense. So I could see that for sure.
So the final hypothesis here is, can NAT surpass Bitcoin? According to the World Gold Council's estimate, approximately 209,000 tons have been mined, which gives it a value of 13 trillion. In the real world, the global GDP is around 100 trillion. As NAT is a quasi-dollar universal currency, whether it will surpass the value of Bitcoin depends on the future production value of the digital world.
Yeah.
In 2022, the total amount of M2, so I think this is circulating physical money, 21 trillion, and the M2 balance in China is 33 trillion. The value of the currencies issued by countries around the world far exceed the total value of mined gold. Dude, this is quite a relevant sort of comparison, right? We have gold, which is like a physical substance, right? It's a non-arbitrary substance in our world.
Yes.
Right? And it's worth 13 trillion.
Yeah.
Right? So our non-arbitrary substance is worth 13 trillion. And then we have like arbitrary substances like the dollar, right? Worth way more than that. Right? And so that's why he says like it's the value of NAT is going to depend on how much of impact it makes in the digital world.
So this is like an inverse relationship type situation. Yeah. It's like the arbitrary component to this digital world is Bitcoin itself, right? Because it was arbitrarily, like, it was the first of its kind, laying forth the 15-year history that we've been through of arbitrary, digital manifestation. Bitcoin it's arbitrary, right? The fact that there's 21 million.
Yeah.
It had nothing to kind of like source and reference as far as like what is going to determine its like proliferation of existence. There's nothing. There's no physical as close to a tamper-proof layer to reference, but Bitcoin is that thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is what non-arbitrary tokens are now currently referencing. So it's like starting with the arbitrary as like the digital gold substance, and then the non-arbitrary, as a result.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so
maybe
I think I find it's it's interesting.
Yeah, this is a long. We recommend you guys read this. We can't even.
Yeah.
So you can't even like really crack the surface of all the ideas and explorations.
Yeah.
That Navigator went through here. So definitely it was an entertaining read. I was fucking engaged.
Yeah.
Like he was cracking through some things that I haven't even like considered.
Correct. Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to quickly run through all. So okay, it's happening. Now what? What else is happening, dude?
All right. Well, first, shout out to Navigator for putting that together. That was a fun read. Next thing is non-arbitrary spaces.
Yeah.
Right. So this document presents a concept of automatically generated complex landscape known as non-arbitrary spaces derived purely from on-chain data present on the Bitcoin network. It builds on the block runner team that conceptualized digital matter theory. So now we got further application of digital matter theory in the context of like building a virtual environment.
Yeah.
And so this is an interesting read. I definitely recommend you guys take a look at this.
Yeah, I'm starting to see more and more like propositions either already being deployed or being imagined as like, DMT clearly is a good idea. Non-arbitrary tokens has been a good like first showcase of like you can actually create digital manifestation in a non-arbitrary manner.
Mm-hmm.
So like what else can we do with this? And under this umbrella, which was the point of us doing all this DMT, is like we wanted to create an umbrella understanding so that we can have, outside, like everybody's kind of aligned in this thinking. It's like, what, this is how we should proliferate digital value from now on.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're in a process of who's going to discover the next main, like utility vector to that. So
application DMTs,
non-arbitrary spaces, man. Yeah, we're gonna have to do like a deep dive into that. And then we got DMT going to Doge.
Yeah, so DMT finally hitting Doge. So we got a Git hook here. And this is going to be interesting just because I think the Doge blockchain is just a little bit different than Bitcoin. So it's going to need its own like set of elements and stuff. Yeah,
that is interesting. And this is, this is an effort from another community that sees value in DMT. It's like, you know what? We have, again, a blockchain. We have our own immutable, tamper-resistant substrate layer to the data that is on Doge. It's like let's create new value from that. So we're gonna keep a close eye on all this stuff.
Yeah. Another tweet by Enoch here. In the near future, I can see OG NAT tokens acting as special items within a multitude of bitmap metaverse applications.
Yeah. So if you're not familiar with some of these logos, these are actually deployed, and I think all of these are blocked out, right? Or most of them.
I think they are. Yeah.
These are like the currently blocked out non-arbitrary tokens, right?
Yeah. NAT. We have the Pi. We have the Infinity and the Joker.
Yeah. So these are all non-arbitrary tokens, but this is like a conceptual idea of like, these can be one day non-fungible assets, can they not?
Yep. NFNATs, dude.
What is that?
Non-fungible, non-arbitrary tokens.
Wow. Never heard of that one, Will.
Yeah. So we've been talking about this in our last Twitter space.
Yeah.
And, you can create non-arbitrary fungible tokens, as we did. You should be able to create non-fungible, non-arbitrary tokens.
Yes.
Like NFTs that are non-arbitrary.
Yeah.
And so that's going to take an update to the Git book, and indexing changes a little bit, but nonetheless, you're going to be able to do this.
Yeah. The wheels are in motion to enable exactly what Enoch here is imagining, right? It's like, we already have these elements in existence. We know the recognized patterns. It's like, why can't we just basically create game assets out of them? And, maybe with unique properties, maybe they're all individually unique from like an artistic standpoint. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, all that is definitely possible. But yeah, it needs we need to extend this protocol a bit in order to enable that.
Correct. And finally, some more conviction tweets here. Basically, this guy Lambert, he's going through kind of following the progression of Bitcoin 2021 with Taproot upgrade, leading to ordinals, talking about UTXOs and ETHs happening as inscriptions on Ethereum. And he's talking about realms of atomicals. And then he just says here, we have DMT, and it could be the breaking point in the bull market. So we got the metaverse is obviously a clear social development trend. You should learn more about Meta, Apple, and Roblox. Let's take a look at Decentraland Sandbox. On the other hand, high consensus protocols such as Bitmap, Atomicals, and NAT, we've all seen a common source called DMT. We think about in the future, DMT continues to develop, we will have the opportunity to construct a new multiverse. So yeah, finally, dude, we're going to create the multiverse.
Yeah.
And the majority of the human population is going to be locked into this multiverse. It's inevitable.
Bold claims, dude. Bold claims.
Yeah, just look outside, and then you'll see that this is inevitable just by looking outside.
What's out there, dude? I see some like feral dogs and stuff roaming around out there.
Cars are driving themselves. We got robots in development.
Okay.
Right?
I mean, I see like a Toyota Camry out there. It's like... I mean, I know they're out there, but it's not like outside. You know what I mean?
It's definitely out there, dude.
Okay, I feel you.
We got AI, automation, and a lot of our mundane jobs are going to be taken up by these evolutions.
Yeah, so definitely tune into our podcast coming up, because I feel like we need to like dump our DMT load. We do,
as we do.
Yeah, because we want to get back on the interview schedule where we're like, talking to other people building interesting things on top of Bitcoin. And so, well, we need to get out like one last just sesh, get all our thoughts out, into the digital format that is known as YouTube and podcasting, just to kind of like, because man, this shit goes deep, and we need people to start like, I guess, thinking along our like wavelength that we're putting out there, so that again, these efforts of contribution can expand. Like more people want to kind of like join with us to like make this ecosystem more robust down the line, right? So it's not going to all come from us. It can't. We need other people to kind of like contribute ideas, their own thesis, like we're seeing with non-arbitrary spaces,
right?
I think you're bringing them up. Yeah, we're seeing potential proposal. What is it? Non-arbitrary, like DNA or something like that, from what I saw?
Something like that.
Like block DNA or something. There's
we made it. DMT, NAT opened the doors wide open. Various other tokens come out as bitmap tokens. Plot was first and outlined the future of the space for all to prepare for. So it's kind of referencing old tweets talking about like the concept of tokens based off the data.
Yeah. So that's what we're talking about, basically. Just need more people to think aligned like this so we can expand. Create these sub protocols to DMT.
Yeah, BDNA module should be abstract out of DMT NAT sub protocol that can be leveraged broadly. So just leveraging DMT all over. It's going to be important. All right, guys, that's it for us. If we miss anything, let us know in the comment section below, and let us know.
Do you guys think one day this is going to be $1 trillion asset class?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that far-fetched. I mean, 15 years of arbitrary digital creation has resulted in a multi-trillion-dollar asset class.
That's right. So that's a good point.
Can the non-arbitrary variant of that also be a multi-trillion-dollar asset class?
I can see on CoinGecko there's a tab. It's like arbitrary. Here you are, and then there's a click on the tab. Non-arbitrary. It's like here you are. Boom,
and will NAT be the king, like they say?
That's right.
The Bitcoin of that era or that classification.
Man, that's
kind of scary to think about. I don't even want to think about that, dude. Now I'm scared.
All right, guys. Appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Peace.